Welcome to a legit review.
Looking back at the Keemstar content cop is a great lesson in hypocrisy. The manipulative tactics and doublespeak start off pretty much right away.
Hey, everyone type Alex is a stupid.
So right away, this video comes off like it's pretty much just an excuse to get away with saying whatever slur you want. Now, I'm not going to take issue with the language that he uses here. Rather, I'm going to show you why he's been lying to us about the reason why he's been using this language.
Now, I'm not going to be using any of these classic lines as argument points in this video. Instead, I'm going to use them for comedic relief.
While he says he's doing it for comedic relief, he is really saying it because he knows a majority of his audience is going to take issue with that on their own. It's important to note that Ian's audience is primed to agree with him and disagree with those he attacks. Most of the iDubbbz audience won't bat an eye at Ian using the slur. But since Keemstar is the villain of the day, they will hold it against him.
Welcome to the slurry.
Jesus, what have we come to?
Now, I'm not going to be using any of these classic lines as argument points in this video.
When he says he's not going to use that as an argument, what he wants you to think is that he could easily use that as part of his argument.
He's manipulative, hypocritical, makes horrible content, extremely unfunny, cringy.
Right after manipulating us, he goes into saying how Keemstar is manipulating us, making unfunny, bad content, and is being hypocritical, even though iDubbbz has already done all three of those things within the first 4 minutes and 34 seconds of the video. Then he takes an out-of-context clip of Keemstar talking about somebody with mental illness, and he is actually trying to defend them, and iDubbbz knows this.
And you took advantage of an autistic kid. About the autistic kid at all!
However, he frames it in such a way where he'll make you think that's not what Keemstar was doing. He'll make you think that Keemstar was making fun of him.
And I looked at all the backlash that Leafy got for making fun of Tommy and see, I don't want any part of that.
This is a plain attempt to determine guilt by association. iDubbbz will obviously make no effort to go out of his way to make sure that you understand that Keemstar was standing up for this person. But iDubbbz will take plenty of time to rearrange these clips in such a way that imply that Keemstar was actually making fun of the autistic kid. Imagine taking an ableist approach just so you can twist your opponent's words. He's been making his argument for less than a minute because there was that god-awful 4-minute intro, and he's already had to lie to us twice to make his point. And that 4-minute intro is a little bit hypocritical in itself, because in the Leafy content cop, iDubbbz makes fun of Leafy for his long transitions.
While we're on the topic of wasting people's time, I want to address these transition slides. But Leafy's made me hate them, because he has them played for 8 seconds long.
But having a really long intro and a really long outro is just as bad, if not worse. And before we go any further, I have to address a deflection that iDubbbz uses in the content deputy for Rice Gum.
Well, you have some pretty horrible comprehension because I was hardly calling you out for it. I used it as a point to illustrate that you can be criticized for it. I didn't say that I'm morally superior to you, because it seems like he has this disregard for what he can be criticized for.
What do you say?
And I just want to spell it out. Hey, dumb, you did something stupid in the past. You can be criticized for it.
I was just saying that you can be criticized for it, not that I was actually criticizing you for it, because that would mean that you might be able to criticize me in retaliation, and I can't handle criticism, so I have to come up with these ways to deflect things in the most absurd ways, because people just agree with me and eat up whatever I say, because I already have a good reputation, so I'm gonna abuse that while I can.
Around this time, iDubbbz had just made a 30-minute video on Rice Gum, and Rice Gum isn't allowed to bring his own criticisms into question here. Newsflash, anyone who's making a living from being a public figure is fair game for criticism. Accepting that people are allowed to make fun of the fact that your girlfriend almost cheated on you with Chris Ray Gun might not be the most comfortable thing in the world, but it's the way the world works. We are allowed to make fun of you back. The only reason why she didn't cheat on you in New York is because Chris Ray Gun has at least a little bit of integrity. Seriously, with all the times your girlfriend acted up when you went out of town, you don't think she ever cheated on you? Oh boy.
Joke's on you, she already told me about the times she cheated on me.
Then he goes into a segment about Keemstar being sensitive, which is quite rich, because he literally banned somebody from coming to his charity event who was offering more than $10,000. This is iDubbbz we're talking about, the person who literally doesn't allow themselves to talk about music because they're afraid about what other people might think. Or maybe it was something about him being too lazy to try to find new music and he felt like he had to make a video about that. I don't really remember. It was one of the most pathetic videos I've ever seen.
Nothing like a good friend.
Maybe you are friends. No, he actually still obsesses about Keemstar and tries to trash talk him still, even though this is drama that's over like 6 years old.
Keemstar.
Ian and Ethan sitting in a tree, thinking about Keemstar for eternity.
He has no filter, he'll just do it, and this has resulted in countless examples of him saying really regrettable shit.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like anybody we know. It's not like you and your girlfriend regret the entire Tanamongo content cop.
We literally harassed an 18-year-old child at her show. It's like kind of...
That's I guess when you put it that way,
it
doesn't sound like
horrendous.
Yeah.
It's horrendous. It's probably like my most embarrassing. Like it is. It's.
So this leads to his timeline being jam-packed of borderline hypocritical dumb shit.
Borderline hypocritical. The last time I checked, being hypocritical was a binary state. You're either being hypocritical or you're not. How can it be borderline? Like, can somebody explain that to me? How you can be almost hypocritical but not hypocritical? How something could be borderline hypocritical? I don't think that's a thing.
It's no longer news. It's no longer going to become news because I deemed it not news. If it was someone I disliked, guess what? That's news.
So just like your bout with Sam Hyde, how you went in trying to make a hit piece, and then when you realized you weren't smart enough to make a hit piece on Sam Hyde, you tried to convince everybody that it wasn't a hit piece, even though it was clearly the intent that you walked in with.
The video is not meant to be a hit piece. I'm gonna make you look like a
Really?
which isn't hard to do.
You can feel like a winner in a game that only you are playing.
Yeah, sorry you really missed your mark on that one, Mr. Puppet Master.
But at one point, he said, at the tail end of the documentary, when he wasn't getting the footage that he wanted, he was really upset, and he said, not to me, but to somebody on the crew, he said, "Usually I'm the puppet master in these situations."
What?
Yeah, he said 100% on God. He said that. Usually I'm the puppet master in these situations.
That's how he views himself? iDubbbz the puppet master?
I guess so, man. I guess so.
Yep, there is a whole section on manipulation, even though Ian is obviously manipulating his audience.
Hey, they're holding me to the standard that I tried to hold them to. That's not allowed. Hey, whoa, hey, whoa, hey, whoa.
Oh, I know. You suggest that if they don't come onto your program, they're not innocent.
Funny, iDubbbz, because what you do is try to allude that people are bad without talking to them at all. So, which is worse? Does somebody have a little bit of a problem with face-to-face confrontation? That's certainly how you came off when you and your girlfriend were on Hassan, because you barely talked at all. It's like you weren't even in the room.
He has this really immature technique for insulting people. He will insult them while simultaneously putting himself up on a pedestal.
He says it's an immature technique, but I bet what he's really thinking is, oh man, I should have thought of that. That's pretty sick.
You can easily brand Drama Alert as the biased news station. You can brand Drama Alert as the very opinionated news station.
Something tells me that iDubbbz doesn't understand Keemstar's branding strategy whatsoever, and it's been working for Keemstar. I would say Keemstar's reputation might even be better than iDubbbz right now.
I think the best part about all this Drama Alert content is that he'll overhype it by screaming like a fucking ape on his Twitter videos.
While iDubbbz doesn't overhype his content per se, he does suffer from hubris, which is a very similar problem, making this another hypocritical point. Isn't that right, Mr. Puppet Master?
Here's one awesome example of some content creation from Drama Alert. A 20-minute narration of a Tumblr post.
Hey, at least it's not hour-long green man dancing.
How to spot a serial killer. Criminologists reveal 5 key traits the most notorious murderers have in common.
This is probably my favorite part looking back on things, because now every one of these 5 points can be applied to iDubbbz. In fact, the error is so egregious that some of these examples can be applied to this very content cop.
Power junkie.
That's how he views himself? iDubbbz the Puppet Master?
I guess so, man. I guess so.
A manipulator. Well, you have some pretty horrible comprehension because I was hardly calling you out for it. I used it as a point to illustrate that you can be criticized for it. An egotistical bragger. He'd ruin my career if he didn't love my content. Wow, you love my content, Keemstar. A superficial charmer. Maybe we are friends. Maybe we are friends after all. You like the hour-long green alien dance? An average Joe. My girlfriend started an OnlyFans account. Oh, but that neglects the part where you say that you'll ruin my career.
And that neglects the part where Keemstar said LOL immediately after. You know people often say LOL when they're joking, right? Well, of course he knows that. He just doesn't want to give Keemstar the benefit of the doubt.
I'm smarter than you, you can't think before you speak, and I've never said this, unironically, but I think this will be the first time I actually say it unironically and mean it. Kill yourself.
Wow, the claim to intelligence was bad enough, but that cherry on top, it's... that could have been my only point in this entire video, and that's all I would have had to bring up. Kind of rough when your only strategy here is to stoop lower than Keemstar. While there are some decent points in the video, Ian's own hypocrisy ruins most of it. Considering it's a 22-minute video, he really had nothing worth saying. I'm sure Ian and iDubbbz's girlfriend are having a lot of fun making great content. They're not really making any content. Oh, okay. I'm sure he was doing something important like winning some kind of competition. Alright, that's gonna have to do it for this one. I hope everybody enjoyed. Shout out to the best subscriber squad on all of YouTube, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day.
You know, there's not too many people around who can develop a sophisticated virus like this one.